What surprised me was that the voices urging caution are not only getting louder, but they're getting more prominent. What is interesting here, Anderson, if you dig a little bit deeper into this, what you find is that there is a certain amount of radiation that is considered the FCC limit. But that limit is sort of dictated by having the phone about an inch away from your head. If you move it closer to your head, they say they can no longer guarantee that your phone isn't emitting more radiation than the FCC limit, which is just stunning to me. So all those limits are only based on literally, having your phone a certain distance away from your head.
A link between breast cancer and phones. Case reports like this are worrisome.
We think this is enough of a concern that we're telling people, please be aware of this.
This is why she argues phones should be tested the way we wear them.
With energy systems that go from cells through tissues, through organisms, the biofield, and you have external energies that compete or interfere, things are not going to be working properly.
Most people think their cell phone just receive waves, but they don't. The cell phone has to send a wave out in order to find a cell tower near you.
Dan, in a recent report in the journal Current Science, scientists are claiming that mobile phones are behind the disappearance of honeybees in Europe and North America. They say radiation from cell phones is getting in the way of honeybees' navigation senses.
There's no way to say that cell phone use is safe. I think that the public has a right to know that there could be a potential risk. The public generally assumes that if one is selling something on the market, that we have had assurances that that device is safe.
I specialized in microwave warfare, so I understood about microwave warfare and how it can damage people, how it can harm people. It is a perfect stealth weapon.
All of the animal navigation studies, the cockroaches, the zebra finches, the chickens, the robins, they've all had their magnetic compass disturbed by radio frequency fields well below the ICNIRP public exposure limit.
Generally speaking, the electromagnetic fields that they'll be reacting to is wireless. So it'll be wireless communications, it'll be Wi-Fi, it'll be cordless phones, deck phones, mobile phones, masts, all of them emitting signals that our body has never experienced before.
Explain what MTHR does and how MTHR is funded.
Yes, the MTHR programme is funded jointly by the UK government and the mobile telecommunications industry.
I've done a lot of work with the telecommunications industry because I happen to have I organise the communication workers representation in here, and so I've talked to these people for a long time. I think they would like to be objective, but they are driven, particularly in a market where they're fighting each other for market share by profit, and therefore they may fund research, but much like the pharmaceutical industry, you often find that they're hiring people who have already spoken on their side of the argument.
Every millimetre of skull helps protect the brain against the phone's microwave radiation, and therefore lowers the phone's SAR rating. Children get their first phone at the average age of 8 years old. An 8-year-old skull is considerably thinner than that of an adult. So you would hope that phones are tested against a skull which represents the thickness of that of a child.
Okay, so this is where we do the body measurement. First measurement we'll do is with a 5 millimeter gap, which this is a 5 millimeter distance.
Because that's how they test it? With a 5 millimeter
this is how Apple did the original test.
Apple tests closer than many at 5 millimeters. LG does their testing at 10. Samsung tests this phone at 15. That's a full 1.5 centimeters away from the body, the maximum allowed. That seems like, who wears their phone 15 millimeters away?
It's a big gap.
People who do the work on mobile phones are, by and large, engineers. They have no idea what is going on inside a living cell, but they are pontificating on this. They make the assumption that the only thing that can affect the well-being of a living organism is if it is powerful enough to heat.
Why the concern?
It's constantly emitting microwave radiation, and that radiation, if it's right next to your body, gets into you, whether it's your breast or your pants pocket. The reality is, every millimeter closer to the head or body you keep a phone, you can get more radiation.
You're saying this new radiation has changed the amount that we're exposed to?
By billions and billions and billions of times. The amount of radio frequency radiation today is billions of times greater than occurred at the Big Bang, through which we evolved human life.
So what we have here is an EMF detector. And what this does is measure magnetic, electric, and radio microwave frequencies. This is a standard Mac laptop computer. So we put this on top, and as you can see, we're still in the 0 to 100 range. It immediately goes way off the charts past 100. And what does that mean to you? These are something that people keep on their laps. So we look here, going back. As soon as I get within a couple inches of it, it goes way off the chart. Now remember, 3 is what's dangerous. We're all the way up past 100 when I touch it. So what does that mean? You don't want to put a laptop on your lap. We're going to try a couple of cell phones. So this is a Apple iPhone 5. We're still on the 0 to 100 range. We just made a phone call, and look how bad it goes up. That's the back side, and of course the front side just as bad. Now the phone call just stopped, and let's see what happens. You can see, even without a phone call, the range still goes up and down. So we're on the 0 to 100 range. BlackBerry's making a phone call. It's stuck past 100. It's the back of the phone and the front of the phone where you talk.
We also tried several times to ask the FCC how can they be so sure cell phones are safe, based on the data that we've all seen, and ask why don't they independently test phones for safety. They wouldn't speak to us about this. They just referred us to their website, which responds to the skeptics, urging caution by saying, quote, the FCC does not endorse the need for any of these practices.